Anybody a little shocked and like, did you think you walked into the wrong place? Or the very right place? Well, we like to change things up around here. Don't get attached to it. Next week it could be an old hymn. I mean, we have a lot of variety of people, music, and all sorts of things around here. And sometimes we like to do consciousness, sometimes we like to do God, sometimes we like to sing sacred hymns, and sometimes we like to rock it. And so I love that we are a little bit of everything, because isn't that what the world is? That's what the world is. So today is a very important talk title, and important talk in my mind, in my world. It is probably, this whole series represents pretty much all that I do in my world, in my teaching, in my coaching, and I'm really very excited, and I might have told you, but in recent months, I am spending time working with practitioners now from around the world. That sounds dramatic, in the country mostly, but we are a worldwide organization, so at some point we're going to touch lives even further out. And I'm working with practitioners specifically because I believe that practitioners carry the healing consciousness that is a gift to the world. So please, this is, our licensed practitioners or interns, you just can't imagine the amount of work that they go through to carry that license and to keep that license. And to be able to now influence people outside of our center with the same things that I've been able to influence our practitioners is a gift to me. And everything is about raising the self. And raising the small self to the large self, the small SELF to the large, capital S, capital E, capital L, capital F, which is the presence of God within each of us. And I'm here to tell you that the shortest distance from where you are now to where you think you want to be, the shortest distance is the path of self-approval. You get that? All self-improvement of any kind is predicated upon you approving of yourself as you are. Exactly as you are. I'm waiting for you to find that little exception in your mind. Because I know that some of you are saying, but you don't know something about me. I don't, but I know an awful lot about me. And I know about me. Thank you, darling. Were you trying to grab that? Thank you. You were doing so good. I know enough about what I've gone through. I know enough about my sins. And in this teaching, sins mean mistakes. I know enough about my pain. I know enough about how, for a good portion of my life, I related to the world through my pain. And I know my recovery. And because I know that about me, I know you. I know you before you know you sometimes, because those of us who do this work, we go into this deep place of connection, and then in there, we're all connected. There is no outside. There is no separate. That's why the work is always about rising up within the self of our own power. So what is the problem with where you are? Maybe not. Maybe you don't have a problem. But without your willingness to think, and I love quoting the Donald, without thinking, without being willing to think that you are the bomb diggity, without being willing to think that you are worthy of all good all the time, that means that you are not seeing yourself as worthy and valuable and holy and sacred and that you should be fully deserving of all good. You have to be your own best friend before anybody else is. And the problem is that certain ideas have been imposed upon you like they were imposed upon me. And society had a lot to do with that. Your parents unwittingly, not on purpose, unwittingly, and I get it. Like with my new grandbaby that just came home right now, Lila, my precious granddaughter, she's looking at her mother like, why aren't you picking me up? Now, she had a C-section, so she can't pick up her baby. Now, what's going on in the mind of this little one? All she knows is she can't get picked up by this person who has been her God. So what happens is, unnurtured in a healthy, wonderful way, we twist things. Most often, the damage that a lot of us feel wasn't on purpose. Sometimes it was just ignorance, but sometimes it's just the very nature of growing in these kind of relationships. So it is very likely that you have been submitted to lies that you didn't question. You just didn't question them. And you know, if you run into things, the same challenges or the same problems on a regular basis. You know if, especially, there's some of us in this group, will know right away because you run into challenges from the outside, and the outside world is telling you no. If you're African American or you're homosexual, you're still running into a lot more of that than the rest of us privileged walking this earth. And if you think you're not privileged, think again. And if you want to talk about that another time, we could talk about that another time. But you are privileged. If you're a very attractive person, you're privileged. If you're rich, you're privileged. And we don't see the world properly from when we're privileged. Now, we might be good people and holy people and loving people, but we're still privileged. And so it blinds us to a certain amount of seeing the world through eyes that could cultivate more compassion. That's a different subject. If you have ever found yourself wanting or wishing what someone else has, you ever do that? Do you ever look at someone and say, oh, I wish I had that house. I wish I had that relationship. I wish I had that job. Every time you wish or want for something that's out, you think is outside of you, you're denying your capacity to generate that within yourself. You're denying your God connection to generate that within yourself. You with me? Do you ever find... No, wait, hold on. Have you ever found yourself jealous? Jealous. Man, I know jealousy inside and out. I don't know how my first husband survived me. I was horrifically jealous. I was so painfully jealous of every woman that ever walked by. Until one day I went to a retreat for women and I suddenly fell in love with women. Like fell in love with the beauty of women and the sensuality of women. And suddenly I could look at a woman and all the time I'll meet somebody and go, wow, you're beautiful. Back in the day? Whoa. That was not my experience. But now I love the beauty of all women. And we are an amazing being. Aren't we amazing women? We are amazing. The way we love, the way we forgive, the way we support each other, we are amazing. And there are societies that are not recognizing that amazement. There are religions that are not recognizing that amazement. I learned a new word, not a pretty word. Have you heard the word femicide? Anybody? Evidently, there's a whole movement in South America, in a number of different countries in South America, because women are being slaughtered for being women. Men who are, my husband gets mad at me, and we're down in South America, it would be not uncommon for him to walk up and hit me, hurt me, kill me. So much so, there's marches of thousands of women upon their capitals to stop this. Now, can you fathom what this is? No. Why not? Because we're privileged. That's a privilege we all share. And we all share a mutual respect. And we all share a mutual love of life. Not to say that this doesn't enter in some of our lives or that it hasn't entered. I get that. But on the whole, we don't know that experience. Hold on one second. If you have thought you are not worthy enough, valuable enough, smart enough, pretty enough, rich enough, you have subscribed to lies. Lies, lies. Lies. Without self-approval, you cannot even cultivate enough self-respect. You must approve of who you are now in order to jumpstart a new experience of yourself. Without learning how to cultivate self-love and self-respect and self-forgiveness, you're not even going to get close. That's why this series what this series is. I'm a little hot here, and I don't know why.
You're a hot mama.
I'm a hot mama. Well, that's true. She comes out of holding the high watch to say this. Your job and my job is to love every nook and cranny of your being. Is to love you exactly the way you are. Is to love your faults, your fears, your doubts, as much as you love your talents, as much as you can love your beauty, as much as you can love your education and your accomplishments. It must be equal. Oh my God, what's going on? It's off. I don't know what's happening.
You were talking about the phenom.
It got hot. We have a beautiful 15-month-old baby in the room. Those of you with children, those of you with grandchildren, it is critical that you hear what I'm saying today. Because there is a difference between not loving someone's behavior and not loving them. There's a total difference between not being in agreement with the way someone might treat you, but not loving their essence or their soul. You are not your behavior. Your behavior, sometimes it's good, maybe sometimes it's not so good, maybe sometimes in your mood, maybe you have an outburst. It's all forgivable. And it's critical that we remember it's all forgivable. But with our children, our grandchildren, our nieces, our nephews, if you don't have children, it is absolutely critical that we love these children in such a way that we approve of their beingness. This isn't about how good they are, how smart they are. This is to love their beingness. And at no point in growing did you stop deserving that kind of love. That never happened. Most of the things that are in your way are your unconscious agreements. Most of them. You just didn't, no one prodded you to check it out. No one prodded you to ask the question. No one prodded you to do deep inquiry. Or maybe somebody has. Maybe you're fortunate. Maybe there was that somebody in your life. Just as you were not born an original sinner, you hear that. I don't care where you come from, and I don't care if someone's offended. You were not born an original sin. You were born nothing less than a full-out original blessing. That is the deepest, most truest part of your soul. And you were not meant to suffer. Pain is different from suffering. Sometimes we have pain. Relationships break up, we have a pain. You lose a job, you're in pain because you're sad or you're upset. You might feel a little bit of fear. That's pain. Suffering is when we take that pain and we make it who we are. And then we extend it way beyond. You're not meant to suffer. And if you're here, that is for sure. Because you can't be here, and here you won't get any message other than that. And if you catch someone speaking about their suffering, remind them. We're here to remind each other. If you've had things that didn't work out, so what? You tried a business and you failed, you think you failed, so what? To the wrong mindset or in the limited mindset, it is a failure. In the right mindset, it's a stepping stone to success. You get the difference? Because we try and then we learn. My best lessons are born out of my screw-ups. My very best lessons, and that's just the truth. So failure is a mindset, success is a mindset. How do we come from a failure mindset to a success mindset? Along the path of self-approval. And so what happens is we have to practice radical honesty. Honesty that says you really see yourself for who you are and you're willing to admit, oh yeah, I didn't handle that so well. Maybe I should have done this differently. Yeah, those kind of things that happen. So we notice it, and then immediately we practice self-forgiveness. And that self-forgiveness must be coupled immediately. This happens, boom, 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 with self-approval. Now, that does not mean that we are not taking responsibility for our behavior. That happens. We take responsibility. But it does mean that we don't live in the upset. We don't live in the criticism of ourselves. Are you hearing me? Yes. So whatever it is you think you have that is owning you, that is defining you, think again. So I want to tell you a story, and it's a little bit of a long story, so hang in there with me. It's somewhat amusing. So as part of it, I don't even have to tell you, except that it's amusing. And it's a little bit about my family. I'm one of 7. Forget the timer, I'm going long today. I'm one of 7. My grandmother was German, my grandfather was Irish, and someone was English. I used to think I was mostly English, I'm mostly German. I don't even know how that happened. Okay. So my grandmother's name on my mother's side was named Mary. So when she had my mother, her firstborn, she named her Mary. So my mother, I guess, liked the idea. So when she had her first of 7, I'm the baby of 7, she named my first sister, my eldest sister, Mary Jane. Then the second one was Myrtle. Then the third one was Maureen. Okay, M. You seeing the pattern? Okay. Then there was a boy born. So since my father was Cliff, the son became Cliff. Then they had twins. The girl was Margaret. The boy was Carl. So we have M, C, okay? Then I was born, Michelle. Now in between, my mother had 2 grandchildren by my eldest sister and my second eldest. They were Mary Lou and Mary Ann. And my kids wonder why I can't get their name right. And then my sister said, enough, Susan. Okay, she just said enough, okay? Although we did wind up with another Carl, and I gave my son, my brother's his middle name is Carl, so we still did that a little bit. And my eldest son is Michael, I have to admit. I wanted a Michael in my life. I love that name. So we have all these kids, and a lot of pain. A lot of pain. I don't talk about this story often because it's not a pretty story. But alcoholism was rampant in my family. It was common. And there was lots of extra loving going on. Not in the greatest way. All of my sisters and I had the lovely experience of being loved in that extra way. And some of the grandchildren. So we had a lot of story. A lot of like, you know, like yuck. Thank you, God. Thank you, God, for this teaching. Thank you, God, for healing. Thank you, God, that I was able to transcend and not show up here as the walking wounded. Thank God. Okay. But the set of twins, there was so much pain around these set of twins. My one brother went to Nam and never came home. Although we didn't know he didn't come home, the FBI thought he was AWOL. And 30 years after his death, we buried him because he was buried in another man's grave. He had to be exhumed, and then we buried him in Arlington Cemetery. My sister, his twin, she was most hated by my mother, probably because she got the most loving from my father. She was very attractive, very flamboyant and fun, and she spoke Spanish quite well because her first boyfriend at 15, who whipped her off to Puerto Rico, was Puerto Rican, and she learned how to speak the language quite well. Interesting, right? You didn't know this about me. Man, she was in a lot of pain. The girl was in a lot of pain. And I can remember at 15, she was 15 and I was 5, and she left the house in one of those dramas that you only see on Lifetime TV. And I'm standing across the doorway saying, no, don't leave. 5 years old. I have no idea really what's going on. I just don't want my big sister to go. She goes. And then she goes to Puerto Rico, and then they have to give her money to come home, and her life is just turmoil, pain, and turmoil. Some drugs, some this, some that. Ugh, mess. So she gets pregnant. I don't know who the father is. I think she knows. Maybe she knows. She's dead now. She got pregnant. While she was pregnant, she married somebody. That's another whole story. And then they got pregnant again right away. So now they have 2 daughters, 2 beautiful young little daughters. And when they were about 4 and 2, 4 and 3, some like young, she goes shopping one day around Christmas time with her husband's worker. And they take off and they go to California and they never come back. You getting this? We think maybe she's dead. We don't hear from her for 6 weeks. We think she's dead. I think maybe my brother-in-law killed her because she was such a pain in the butt. We thought, I'm laughing now. I was not laughing then. So she's gone. Now the worker comes home. The worker probably figured he finally realized who he ran away with. He got a grip of what that was about. He comes home crawling back to his wife. Her husband divorced her immediately. Yeah, hopefully I won't lose all your respect after this. And while she's out there, she marries another guy. But because she's wounded, now she really attracts even a more wounded person, an ex-Army vet who's emotionally just really beaten down. This is not a good situation. So what does any right person do like that? She has 2 more kids. Bad. She's in drugs, kids she can't afford. The other 2 are home wondering, where did my mommy go? Then they divorced. He dies, but before he died, she had a 5th son. She gave him up for adoption. So I don't even know where that one is. He's somewhere. My nephew does have my niece and nephew from that side of the family, they have tracked him down. So she had, she was fun. And she was beautiful, and she could dance, and she could speak Spanish fluently, even though she was just this, white girl. And she just was always the life of the party, even with all her pain and suffering. If she walked in the room, she owned the room. She had that. You know how people have that even when they're messed up, kind of? And she had that. So she came down with brain cancer a few years ago, and some of you who've been around know that I said goodbye to her. I traveled down to Oklahoma. While there, I spent a few days with her son and her daughter from that other husband, the Wadleigh side of the family. And I was only there 3 days, maybe 4 days, and bonded mostly with her son, but didn't spend that much time because I was there at the hospital or the nursing home with my sister. And then we came home, and over time, I spoken with him a few times, tried to get him to come to the wedding. It didn't work out. And I've communicated with him through Facebook. And he went into real estate, and I was very encouraging of him in his new career and stuff. But I still, the amount of physical time that I was with him, it amounts only to a number of hours. I've spent more time in your company than I ever spent in this family's company. 2 nights before Thanksgiving, I get a phone call. And I love how, because of caller ID, you know who's calling. I just love that. So I get to pick up the phone. I said, Mr. Wadleigh, how are you? Happy Thanksgiving. Enthusiastic. And he was happy to hear that I knew who he was and was very jovial. And he's telling me about life, and I'm telling him about the new grandbaby coming and everything that's going on. And then he said, yeah, life is good. He said, and I'm in a relationship now. When someone says I'm in a relationship, but they don't say I have a boyfriend or I have a girlfriend, you know what's happening, right? I kind of suspected this, and I loved him for it. So I said, oh, good. I said, and I was playing along. I said, so who is this person? And he says, It's a man. He says, I didn't know if you knew. I said, well, I suspected. And he said to me, I knew you'd be okay. You get that? And he said, the reason why I'm calling is because someone challenged me to make 5 phone calls and tell 5 people how much I appreciated them. I made it on a short list of 5 people. That's tremendous. And I've been in his company less time than I've ever been in the company of you. That's what comes when you do this work and you become a stand for possibility, and you become a stand for wholeness, and you become a stand for love, and you become a stand for compassion. That he saw me as a safe place to land. Man, did he make my Thanksgiving week. Maybe even more than my new grandbaby, because I get him forever. He said, I just knew you'd be okay. Now, he lives in the Bible. I said, you live in the Bible Belt? He said, no, I live in the buckle of the Bible Belt. You know? He got put through school by the pastor who helped to save these kids from my sister's ill doings by sending them off to college. And their religion, it was a Wesleyan college, they took care of everything for them. God bless them that they did that. But that's where they are. So no, he's not being surrounded by high fives for coming out. You know, even his sister and her husband was like, yeah. And they have a child, little baby Allie. Oh my God, she's so cute. And he worships this baby. And at first the brother-in-law said, I don't know if we're going to want you to be around her. We don't want her to get the message. It's okay. However, only a short time later did they now invite his friend to the house. So there's movement. Would that movement be possible if he wasn't surrounded by someone or someones who made it okay? Maybe not. See, this is who you are, and this is who I am. This is who we are. We are that place where people can land. We are that safe place. You have a ministry. You have to know you have a ministry. Your ministry is your life. And it might not be with a title, but it's the very presence of your being when you walk in anywhere and you withhold. And I say withhold because maybe initially you're withholding judgment until you fall so madly in love with yourself that the judgment isn't there. Are you with me? Yes. This is who we are. You must be willing to accept the charge of that ministry if you're here. That's who we are. We are that place where when people gather and people come in here, and people say it all the time, and I loved it when, Elizabeth, was it your word last week when you said you found your tribe? What a great word. This is the tribe of people who are willing to love past all that stuff. And it comes out of you loving yourself and accepting yourself and forgiving yourself and approving of the self that you are, so your self that you are becomes the self that you think you want to be, and secretly you're already that. That's the secret. You're already that because you can't be something you're not. You can't have something you don't have. You already have it. You already have all the qualities. You already have all the beingness. How are you seeing it? Are you unearthing it? That's up to you. And that's what we do. We look and we see each other. And when we see each other, we pull it out. Are you with me? Yes. Oh, dear God, please tell me you accept this charge. Yes. Because this is who we are. Because you wouldn't be sitting here. You would have left a few minutes ago. Right? Isn't that true? You would have just left. But we're here to be that. One of the things I wanted more than anything in the world was to be a safe place. And I mean the place that's my beingness. And to recognize that in others so that when we gather, so that our place of beingness grows and grows and grows. So it's felt immediately. John O'Neill says to me a week ago, he goes, why is this place not full? Why isn't it standing room only? I don't know. Fill it up. To each of you, I say, fill it up. And this is why we deserve to be supported. We deserve your support. We deserve your financial support, your loving support, your volunteer support. We deserve your tithes because we, as a collective amount of people, hold this space in the world where people can feel safe and loved. That's you. That's you. That's each one of you. And when we do that, and when we're more loving, and when we accept more responsibility of the world, we're less of a burden on the world. You realize that? Because a lot of people, you go to a lot of places, everything, we know it's basically, everyone says it's a litigious society. Well, it doesn't have to be a litigious society if we're accepting responsibility. Now, there are right and appropriate places. I get that. But there's sometimes it's just out of placing blame. People want to place blame. I was talking to a friend the other night. I don't remember what we were talking about. And immediately the first words out of his mouth was, oh, then I should blame so-and-so. And I went, oh. I looked at him. I said, I can't believe you went there. No, we don't blame. We're here to own. We're here to be brilliant. I'm on a soapbox. I'll get off the soapbox now. I don't know that word. I get it. I'm gonna, one more minute. I'm sorry. One more minute. We get a piece of mail. We get a piece of, everybody wants money now. I get it. So do I. And I mean for us. I get it. So we get a piece of brochure in the mail that comes, and Neil and I had a lovely, lovely day the other day where we didn't have to go anywhere. It was so lovely. Oh, we had hours to talk and have coffee. It was just great. So I pulled out this brochure, and it's from a Seva Foundation. Now, I thought it was a different foundation because I think there might be a couple of Seva Foundations, if that's possible. And this one is specifically to help people who are blind around the world. Lovely, lovely purpose, right? And I'm looking at this, and I said to Neil, who are we? What would compel someone to treat us in the same way that they treat those purposes? The problem is that because we're about everything and all people, and we look less focused, but I believe we have a compelling story. And I believe having a loving community, an accepting community, is its own compelling story. I really do. So whether you're here with us here or whether it's on podcasts, I just ask you to know that we are a compelling place to land, to be seen, to be supported. God bless you all that have done all the inreach, the outreach that you're doing, the volunteering that you're doing, the prayer work that gets done, the healing circles that get done. Thank God for each one of you. Thank God. Thank you for you. Let's hold hands. If you will. I suggest it just because we create community that way. Beautiful. Oh, so please go to that place within where the presence and the power and the love and the light of the one are here. Let us feel it. Let us feel the vibration from the tips of our toes to the top of our head at a cellular level. Let us feel the aliveness, the enthusiasm, the inspiration of the one as it sources itself to us, through us, in us, as us, in every moment of every single day, always. Let us dig deep into the source, the soul, the core of our being, and pull up the places of beauty and acceptance and compassion. Let us walk in the light and the love of the one brilliantly, always. I declare for everyone who can hear, whether in this room or on the podcast, I declare everyone with the ears to hear that we have everything required to be in the beingness of possibility, that we no longer collude with limitation, that we accept ourselves as we are, and we approve of ourselves. We approve of every single aspect of our being. We approve of the beauty and the joy. We approve of even the mistakes and what we think of as limitations. And we allow this transformation and this transcendence to happen through us. So grateful to know that there's no outside, there's no separateness. There is only the one energy of life itself, making itself available through us always. For the bounty of this good and so much more, I am incredibly grateful. And I surrender this word to love, to law, and to awe. Please say with me, and so it is. Amen.